Hey, welcome back to another episode. Let's play Dead Cells, video series where we finally, after 13 episodes, 14 episodes, kind of get into the groove of anecdotes and gab. Oh, we missed it. Maybe we're not in the groove. I don't think there was a need to miss that door. Get in the groove anyway, maybe a little bit of distancing from the game, kind of going on autopilot. We've got our path, we've got our strategy, we've got a bit of a synergy going on. And so we were able to move away a little bit from talking about the game all the time and get into some anecdotes about what makes Roman tick. TB Roman, what makes you tick? This is your life. Explain to us what makes you tick. And in the last episode, we were talking about how a simple, delicious snack, like a box of chocolate-covered almonds, can open up the floodgates and bring back a whole series of memories about fundraising and organized sports and group activities that kind of make a young male from small-town Canada just feel like absolute crap and not want to participate anymore. Or where we last left off, we had just entered the high school era after being mildly kind of demeaned in elementary school, burning and stunned a turret. Burning and stunned. We don't really have anything for burning and stunned, but I'd like to get these numbers up. Ice Grenade, I guess, is actually the only one that's really far behind at 2. Level 2. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, in high school, you get the chance to kind of hit the reset. And if you've had good experience in that kind of thing, maybe, you want to stick to the sports. You want to stick to the groups and not be a malcontent, so to speak. But it also gives you the chance where if you don't want to do any of that, to hit the reset and just kind of be a recluse, a shut-in, and embrace that malcontent approach. And it may put you at odds with your father. It may put you at odds with what you actually do want in the long run. And if no one's there to kind of tell you that in a supportive way and maybe guide you back into the fold, you may end up like me and a malcontent for life and a lone wolf, so to speak. Malcontent and critical are sort of like my opinion always was, well, I'm not a malcontent. I'm critical. I have a critical eye that I can bring to certain things like organized sports and have these grand concepts and ideas about them. Well, maybe it's more you're just a malcontent, and then I'm not a shut-in or a recluse. I'm a lone wolf. Maybe sometimes you are just a bit of a shut-in. You kind of got to balance the reality with your perception of the reality and what is the truth, and hopefully it doesn't get to the point where you're kind of too far gone and it's affecting your professional life. But anyway, we're rambling. We had a nice coherent train of thought at the end of the last episode, and we've unfortunately moved away from that a little bit and gotten more towards a rambling sensibility, and I don't want that. But yeah, so like me, I did hit the reset and I went to the shut-in way. Wasn't right off the bat, because this is the story I wanted to tell. When I was in high school, in the first year, coming out of grade school, I really enjoyed volleyball. Yes, me, the animator, game player, TB Roman, was a fan of the organized sport of volleyball. Team sport, 6 people, everyone's got a role to play, different skill sets, all coming together in the confluence of athletic and pursuits, and enjoyed it. Had a great gym coach by the name of Redacted, for the sake of anonymity. Loved every minute of it, pretty much. even got involved in grade school with the volleyball, to the point where I was asked to do scorekeeping and stuff, to help out with the, so involved in the institutionalized aspect of it, not just, show up because I like to smack the ball around. I like to serve, so I'll show up to practice and hopefully get to serve in a game and just feed my own interest. No, involved in the organization of it, the structure of it, kind of going down that path. Grade 8. Grade 9 rolls around. It's high school. Be Roman. What do you want to do in high school? Well, I enjoyed volleyball coming out of grade school, and I'm dead. So why not do it in high school as well? Okay, very good. Sign up. First practice. It's September, October of grade 9. A lot of things going on personally. A lot of things going on. Trying to find my groove in the new school. So things are a little unsure for me, right? I'm a little hesitant, and again, with my personality and character, if something just doesn't suit me, rather than stand up and try to force people to be disagreeable enough and forceful enough to assert myself and how I want to be treated and what I expect, and even just put my own delicate sensibilities aside long enough to enjoy parts of it that are enjoyable. I got hung up on the negative parts, and after the first practice quit because it wasn't fun, and it wasn't fitting in with my personal pursuits, right? So and the reason for that was itchy nose again. No, but this could be good. Get a blood synergy going early. Single parent family. And actually, no, it's not. That's a misleading thing. I don't like saying single mother, Monday to Friday. Father very much in the picture, very, very influential, very supportive, very influential. Leave it at that. No overly negative, glaring problems there. No, there's no nothing bad, nothing I could write a book about, right? It's just the way it is, right? Monday to Friday, mother, Saturday, Sunday, Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, father. Straightforward, very common, no issues, right? Again, upfront issues, non-existent. Great times in both households, fond memories. Fridays were the volleyball practice. Fridays were my time to visit father. To start the visit, or it wasn't just, go to his house after school instead. No, after school, he had to come into town, pick me up, bring me to a new town, spend the weekend there. Sorry, just looking at my phone there for a brief second. So there wasn't a lot of leeway for after school activities, right? I joined I joined volleyball full well knowing this. Thought, you know what, it's fun, I can enjoy it. It's right after school on Friday. I can fit it in. Dad will come. It'll be a little tight. You're just going to have to be used to picking me up later, right? It's just the way it's going to have to be. That was fine. That wasn't an issue with father. That was great. You want to do that? That's fine. Totally supportive of that. I didn't like it. The practice anyway. And the reason it boils down to is just too competitive. I'm not competitive by nature. This was you've got to hit the ball. You've got to hit it perfect. This is how you serve. You're not serving right. It's like, holy jeez, I just wanted to play volleyball, right? I was not very good at, I'm short. I couldn't spike. I couldn't, deliver that driving home thing. I was decent at setting. I was what I thought. Wow, I missed it. No, too much talking. I thought I was decent at serving, coming out of grade 8, and then practice was just like, whoa. Like, I don't know who these coaches were. These were like just older student coaches, so it was all like you gotta win for the team. You know, we gotta get you guys the best. And the people that were on my team were not the people who were my friends in grade 8. These were other kids, and there were some older ones. And we're gonna go bleed, man, bleed everywhere. And so yeah, it was an eye opener, right? It was not the same people. I had one person from grade 8 that was also in this practice, and it was just like 126. I don't know. So it was an eye opener. It was new, didn't stick, didn't like it. I had also cut into my time in the father household, which was again great. A lot of outdoor stuff that I value today. Fishing, playing outdoors, just exploring outdoors, all that kind of stuff, which I didn't do from Monday to Friday. This was cutting into that. Didn't like it. Totally different feel, going on that long drive at 7 p.m. in the dark when you're tired and not happy with how practice went, compared to oh yeah, pick me up right after school and everything is good kind of travel, right? Get there, eat supper late. And again, this was all one experience, so I mean it was totally just like almost like a bit of a cop out. It was like, well, I don't even cuts into my time in father household, so I don't want that. I'd rather it just wasn't, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze, right? I wasn't getting good things out of the practice to justify the bad things. It was awful. I'm gonna pause here and read this message that was just delivered to me via this fancy talking messaging device. Oh God. Yeah, real life just comes crashing in over the phone. Okay. But yeah, so that was my brief foray into organized sports in high school. After that, total, fill in the blank. If you want to go with Malcontent, sure, I'll wear the Malcontent monicum, whatever. I thought of it as, always did and still do, think of it as critical, right? I was critical of those things, valued my time. Can we do anything? Oh, I hate that. That happens way more often than you would think. Valued my time. At least I thought that's why I was doing it. More than the value that I was getting out of that kind of stuff. What is this emoji I'm looking at here? This is some kind of a green thing, a green alien head. I don't know what's going on in the world anymore. And yeah, juice wasn't worth the squeeze. Went the whole, holy jeez, the rest of grade 9. That was like literally the first practice. So it was like within the first couple of weeks, maybe month of grade 9 at the most. So very early, just bailed on that whole idea, right? And didn't, yeah. I had one other sport that I played, and this was later. This was in grade maybe 11 or so a couple years later. Much smaller sport, much less organized, in the sense that it was not a big sport in our school. Nobody cared about it. Willingly played that for a while. It didn't take very little of time, right? It was a struggle just to get a team. We would throw together a team before an event at the last minute. It would take maybe, a few days out of my life. And, there was no big institution around it to be a malcontent about. The juice was worth the squeeze in that case, right? Very little effort required. Got full value out of it because I liked that particular sport. And then one club also much later on, like a trivia type club thing. That one took a little bit more involvement, but by then I was getting a little bit more popular, enjoying the whole high school thing a lot better. And by the end of it, I was on top of the world in high school. Loved it. Grade 12 and 13 were phenomenal. Couple of best years of my life. No worries, no know anything. Tons of freedom. You know, you get your driver's license. Small but very close group of friends, and you know, just good times in general. Are we at the right level here? Yeah, we'll be at 7. That's good. But yeah, just in terms of, you know, so I had no sort of fundraising memories of that. So but yeah, the chocolate almonds of all things, right? The chocolate almonds bring all this back up, and it's amazing. And that's the level of sort of introspection that I value. You know, it sounds kind of silly sometimes to go back and think, oh, sitting in the back of a pickup truck, one kind of nasty comment from a teacher who otherwise was one of my favorites, just sort of off the cuff short response from her is not enough to justify all this. You know, you're just blowing this out of, and you might be right, yeah, I mean, but it's just, to me, it's fun to go back and think about that kind of stuff and look at the trends and the patterns that were there, and you know, no one was there to notice them at the time, but when you look at them in the backward, you know, from hindsight, the value of hindsight in 2020 hindsight is just, it's amusing. I don't know if I would change it. I don't know if it even could have been changed. But it's interesting nonetheless, and I value that kind of stuff, and those kinds of self conversations, right? Don't see anything wrong with them whatsoever. But yeah, I've just, and to carry on with that train of thought, that I said there was a teacher that there was another story with that teacher, and she was one of my favorite teachers. That grade 8, was grade 7 and 8, and thought that at least the way I had remembered it back on it, maybe it was just because I was looking through rose colored glasses through the rough high school years. I went through a lot of my life thinking that was, you know, a very significant teacher for me, you know, did some good things for me. And then not long ago I was looking back through some old report cards and stuff, and I realized that I was not the greatest student during that time, right? So where did that sort of perception of, oh yeah, you know, such a so-and-so teacher, I liked her a lot, I liked her class, I remember just, you know, loving school at that time, and, you know, everything was great, was how I remembered it. And then I look back, and it's like, you know, B. Roman could do better, you know, B. Roman, you know, you're lacking, you're capable of better. You know, I'm looking through the report card comments, right? You're capable of better. Oh, I'm kind of disappointed. And it's like, I remembered this teacher as liking me. And then I think back to the snippy comment in the back of the truck, and it's like, well, it kind of adds up, you know, that maybe I was already a malcontent at that time, and that wasn't appreciated, and it was showing in my work, and it was starting to show. I don't have any other stories or memories from times before that I could point to and say, oh yeah, that's when it started, other than, like I said, that, I mean, that was one sort of fringe case with the chocolate fundraising stuff, right? And just that moment of realization about how ridiculous and how much I hated some of that, some of the things that were going on. And it's like, well, this has to be more. What else can we look back and see? I just don't have the memories. They're not there. But to go back and look at those report cards and see those comments, it's like, I thought that teacher liked me. You read these comments, you get the impression that she's kind of disappointed, and to her, I was like this sort of lackluster student. It's like, that's not how I remember that time at all. It's too bad, you know. And then I also was looking at some of the high school ones, and during the tough times, it was even worse to remember some of the academically, that it wasn't too bad, but some of the comments academically kind of going even into the good times when I was happy, that academically was not good. I was so bored with the work parts of school. None of the subjects interested me. I don't know what I needed. I needed a sociology or something, which is what I ended up going on to major. And I didn't even know sociology existed until first year university, right? Sociology 100. I didn't even know it existed. I went into school on sort of this one one track mind. The only subject I liked was history. So I was gonna, I guess I'll major in history and maybe teach, right? Not because I have had this great ambition, but because I didn't know anything else was out there. I didn't have this great urge to teach. It was just, well, what else is there? There's nobody here to point me in any direction. No proper guidance counselor to speak of. Our guidance counselor's job, as far as I can tell, was to just help you fill out applications to schools. They didn't point you in any direction, nothing, no guidance at all, no counseling at all. It's pretty demoralizing when you think of it. But I didn't know anything else. Didn't know any better. When you go into first year university, it's like this whole world opens up, and it's like, so what? And just loved it. Took me a year to realize that's what I wanted to major in, so I had to switch majors partway through my post-secondary career. And it's like, can all this honestly be traced back to chocolate-covered almonds? But that's kind of where I'm not that it can all be traced back to that. Obviously, that's a huge leap and a bit of a ridiculous sort of thing to say, but you can see the roots of it, right? The roots of it are in, the realizations and attitude forming opinions, personality forming opinions that were created while fundraising with chocolate covered almonds. Yes, I mean, that's not deniable. That's where, and by my memory, that's where it started. And it was visible at that point. It was visible. Extra bleed damage. 75%. Oh, 212. It's a one shot 334. It's probably not that good. I don't really like this grenade, but we're going to roll with it. We're already at 22 minutes. I can't believe this run is still going. We've botched time doors. We've botched... Well, we haven't botched the synergies too much. The synergies are there. Yeah, that's a synergy. Start rolling some tactics upgrades, I guess, to... Yeah, it's not bad. Get these cooldowns reduced to a manageable level. Oh, that wind up on that blood sword is just a hair too long for my liking, I guess. Yeah, we'll try this. And die. That seems about right. No worries. We'll come back in another episode. We got more school things to talk about. Personality traits, how things start, where the roots begin, where they grow to. All kinds of interesting stuff. I know you'll love it. I love it. Come back for more. But until then, thanks very much. See you soon.